Welcome back to Cast Me to Hell with me, Seb.
And me, Robbie.
And here we are with a new season of films coming your way. This is the Body Snatcher season.
Yes.
We just discussed this moments before we said. We couldn't decide if this was sci-fi or Body Snatchers. We're always honest on this, so I'm going to say it's Body Snatcher season. There's one of them that we are questioning, and we'll get to that film later.
Yes, we will. But for this film, this is kind of a sci-fi classic, and maybe probably, would you say the biggest body snatching sci-fi classic? It's kind of it's a very titular one, isn't it?
I think in terms of the general impact of the film, I mean, this film I feel like is no more for a Donald Sutherland meme at the very end of the film than it is for anything else. In modern society, it's mainly known for seeing Donald Sutherland screaming.
Yes.
Is kind of what it's known for. But the Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978, directed by Philip Kaufman. So this is... We've got a whole season of different ones coming your way, of different body snatcher films in different forms. And we're starting off with this one because I think this is kind of a big... or at least in terms of... I mean, if you're going to do anything that's body snatchers, it's the only one that's got body snatcher in the title. So there you go. This is the second version of this film. This film's been remade 3 times, I believe. So, Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1956, I think, also around that time, which was a small budget of its time, kind of, quite... we were talking about it before, whether we'd seen it. I've seen, I think, the majority of that film, but I don't know if I've seen the whole film. I watched it because I'd read the book, but it was a very low budget. It's like quite true to the original novel, but it's kind of... I don't know. It couldn't quite do much with the effects and things like that, so it had to there's a lot of talking in that film. Not that there's not some amount of exposition and talking in this film as well. The other one is Invasion from 2007, I think, which is starred Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig.
Oh, okay.
So that's another adaptation of this film, but that one was widely panned. I've never seen it.
I feel like I vaguely remember it coming out. I seem to remember some a scene in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Where
I remember the poster for some reason in my head because it's like Nicole Kidman and it's like very like proper bright white with like things. It doesn't. I don't know why. If you're going to make a remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I get it, Invasion. Let's get it down to that. But I feel like I remember a lot of things being about this has barely anything to do with what it's like they've tried to make it and then just gone fuck the novel. I'll just do that. And not that those parts are lots of people say this one does go away from the novel in several ways because a lot of people say the novel has some great ideas but it's not a perfect novel in the same way. So there's bits in there.
You have read the novel, haven't you?
I've read the novel. Yeah. It's a good read. It's an interesting part. This film kind of plays with the ideas but changes it into kind of, I guess, what would have been a 70s San Francisco kind of style to it, to bring in some things. I've got some. I think there's some interesting things, especially with the types of jobs that they give to people in this film. I don't know why I was obsessed with because in the original novel it's literally the main character. He's a doctor. He's the small town doctor in a small town, and in a small town you start to notice problems with people if you're they don't seem like they are. You've got the character saying that's not my wife, that's not my husband. You know what I mean? You get a lot of that build up. That's really interesting. He's got friends. We don't really know. I don't really remember what they did, but they've got 2 friends. It does come down to a couple, a doctor and another doctor, and then 2 other people, just like in this film where it becomes a kind of the 2 couples almost together. Although not a couple in this one. it's a weird dynamic.
It's a very weird dynamic.
There's a weird dynamic in this one. Yeah. So it's got those elements into it in the book, and then a lot of it is just how people start to take over the town. Although I will say that they're a lot more polite in the book of the way that they almost have conversations with them in the book. The ones that are taken over start to have conversations. They don't just take them or grab them or it's a lot more you'll see our side in the end, and there's a lot more chance for them to kind of get away. So I understand with the original. There is one section in the book that literally the main characters, they get away. They fully get away. and then for some reason they decide to go back.
Well,
and it's the main part that most people normally say is like, why the fuck did you do that?
It's like Al Pacino. Once I thought I was out, you dragged me back in. Again, it's the way it is sometimes.
In a way, it's like we're gonna save the world kind of thing, I guess. But in the book, it doesn't really play like that. It just kind of plays like they go back for a really random reason. So, like, there are good elements of it, and there are interesting elements, and then there are parts that are like, and it doesn't have. This one obviously has quite a dark ending to it in this version, which the book isn't exactly the same. So I'm not going to ruin that because people and you yourself would probably want to read the book. So I'm not going to. I just wanted to do like a brief overview of like what's different if I notice further things. Because the first thing that kind of came to me was the weirdness of like Donald Sutherland's character, who is obviously meant to be the main character, and Donald Sutherland, who to me always looks like he's about 60 years old. Even in this, he still looks. He looks like he looks like he's very interested in a lass who's about late 20s, and he's about 60, trying to like weave his. He's literally like. He is the idea of the guy who's like, he's just a work friend. Now that guy's trying to back.
That's right, yeah. But it's the 70s,
It's the 70s.
It's the 70s. Everybody's got big, mustaches. Everybody's got loads of pubic hair.
Yeah,
everybody's
got a fro, basically.
He's got a fro. Everybody's shagging, raw dogging. AIDS hasn't been invented yet.
That's the first thing in my head, though. Like when we have the two Donald Sutherland's the two characters together. And the lass that who works in the office with him, but he's obviously interested in. I was just waiting for the scene where it's like, my husband or my boyfriend's at home,
Jack, but
we're also going to be banging on the side, because I was like, well, this is a 70s film, so basically it's like, yeah, of course they're having an affair on the side. I was almost intrigued that I was like, they're not actually having an affair on the side, even though they're both into each other. They're just like, nah, I'm just going to stick with the dude that watches TV with his headphones on all the time,
Yeah.
Basically, like, he is the epitome of, to be fair, anyone who's married, I'm going to come at you now.
Come at me.
Anyone who's married to a major gaming husband, that's basically what that guy is now. Well, reflect on that. Watch this film. If you're a gaming husband, this is how your wife perceives you.
I would just like to.
I'm not going to say that's what Rob is, by the way. I just meant. I know of some people who live their life through games and don't normally interact much.
Yes, just to defend myself.
That's not someone I actually know, by the way. I'm just saying I know of people. Rob is a gamer, but he doesn't neglect his wife.
No, I don't. And not for video games, for entirely different reasons.
He neglects his wife for other reasons.
Yeah, please clarify that. Yeah.
Sorry, his wife's probably listening to this.
No, I don't think she's too busy. So yeah, I think this was the first watch for me, and the thing that I always saw was the absolute dog that is Donald Sutherland doing that meme scream.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was thinking, like, when is this going to come in? How is the film going to be? Because I already kind of know one of the main twists.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised just how good it was,
Yeah.
It genuinely is like a genre classic.
It is. I think there's something about so I looked before, and the director Philip Kaufman, and I was like, I've heard of that guy, and he did things like Oscar and like The Right Stuff, but he also did a lot of like period pieces. Yeah. But then he'd also do films like Rising Sun with Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery action film, or like something that's called like The Wanderers from like, which was kind of about like teen kids of the time. So he had a really weird eclectic, but he was generally quite known to be kind of like a weirdly like auteur kind of like director in many ways. Like he had certain things he liked to do, styles. Like even with this film, he'd never read the book, but he'd seen the original film and really liked it. So he wanted to bring like a noir kind of style to this film, which you can kind of see in the way it is, like the aesthetic, the way it plays out. But he also seems to have some weird sensibility. Like there is some stuff in there. You're like, this is just a bit like for like a mainstream, I guess, like sci-fi horror of the time. There are like bits in there where I was like, this is kind of like, I don't know, either pushing things you wouldn't expect it to go. This isn't like a mainstream horror of the time. This is it feels quite like it's directed by a director who's a little bit more got like an independent style to it. And to be fair, what I meant to get to before was the oddity that I find that in the book it's a doctor, and in this one for some reason Donald Sutherland, the person they go with, instead of it seems so easy for Donald Sutherland and even her to be just doctors, because the lab and stuff would still be there. You still have all the elements, but instead he's a food inspector. I don't know why I found that such like a to lay your main character. You know, when most films would normally be like he's the doctor or he's the surgeon or he's you know, they'd go with that big role. For some reason they give the intro, which actually leads to slightly a more interesting role in it, because it's like he's the guy that a lot of people most of the time hate. Like he's used to being someone that is almost on the outskirts of things, even though he does this job, because most people hate him. So we open with that scene of him like in the, you know, when we go into the, you know, and he's like in the restaurant with the guys, he's like, what is this? It's a caper. And he's like, well, eat it then.
Yeah, I love that.
I was intrigued straight away, because again, you could have had, like, you so easily could have adapted it to be like, oh, he's just the doctor in a small town, or like didn't have to. They've obviously taken this from a small town to a big city, so the scale feels larger than the book already.
Yeah,
because the idea of the book is obviously that the small town, it could leak out into the wider city, or they're already trying to leak it out into the wider city, but it's contained at the moment, kind of thing. Whereas in this one, it's like once it's in the city, you're like, well, you're fucked, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it kind of adds a bit more to the isolation in a strange way. You know, and I feel like when we start this film, we're not very early into it. You know, if you have it in a small town, you can have the first person being infected. You can have it kind of starting to brew, but in this one, it's almost like already underway. They're already a little bit late to the party. Like her boyfriend,
you
Jack,
already don't know who's who.
No,
like who's going to be taken and stuff like that.
Well, her boyfriend Jack is clearly one. You know, when she's kind of saying like, oh, I followed him and he went to meet all these weird people and he's carrying all those weird pots.
He gets changed in the opening, the opening scene when we.
I
love the way that they come down from space. Yeah. The whole watching the organisms that are growing on like really a planet's surface is really like those little touches where we go down and then we follow it all the way to being like this growth that builds on this planet and starts to turn into it, and then turns into a flower, and we see Elizabeth, which is played by Brooke Adams. I'm trying to get the names this time because I feel like we've got bad. we've got bad at just going, that bloke, this guy. So when I just said it a minute ago, I was like, no, I need to actually make sure. Let's try and be somewhat professional here. Yes. It's Donald Sutherland is Matt, or Matthew Bennell. Brooke Adams is Elizabeth Driscoll. Mr. Jeff Goldblum. I'm gonna love a bit of Jeff Goldblum as Jack and Belichick.
I'm going straight off the bat. I'm probably not going to call them by the character name.
No, probably just call them Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, if you give me Jeff Goldblum, I'm not calling him something else. And then Ian Malcolm.
You've got Veronica Cartwright, again, quite a well-known in a lot of horror genres. She appears in quite a lot of horror.
Lambert and Alien.
Nancy Belichick. That's all. It's just those main four. Everyone else is. I think.
Mr. Leonard Nimoy.
Sorry, Dr. David Kibner. I can't remember Mr. Leonard Nimoy.
Who, as you were saying before we started to film, massive for the original Star Trek, which I don't think either of us has watched. But I feel like I don't know him in anything else.
No.
Like he a very storied career, sci-fi legend. But I feel like I can't.
He was stuck in the sci-fi genre.
He was stuck in it.
Absolutely stuck. Like, I think most of what he ever did. Which, to be honest, when I watch him in this, I do go in a way. I go like, it's kind of sad because, to be honest, Leonard Nimoy probably comes across as, in many ways, the strongest actor in this film. Yeah. So it's kind of sad when you see it, like, in a way. Like, I know he had an amazing career and he had amazing parts like that, but I feel like any actor in that thing gets a little bit like, I'm typecast and I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And I think of the time, I don't think it, to be honest, it doesn't always happen as much now because we have such varied ways of doing things now where you can be in a Star Wars film, but you can also go off and do Netflix stuff and other different channels who will take you up. I don't think it happens as much as it does.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, if you're a superhero now, you can also be other things now.
Yeah.
Whereas back when it was like Christopher Reeves or Leonard Nimoy, or, you know what I mean? Like Christopher Reeves is Superman.
Shatner.
He's Superman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shatner is Star Trek. He's that. Back then it was like, well, that's all we know you for because there's not enough media output for you to see you as anything else. As people literally knew you as the character, and they didn't even sometimes know who you were. You were Spock.
Yeah, and I think it's worse, particularly for sci-fi. You know, like Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
You know, there were a few people.
Look at how long has it taken him to basically get out of that? Like, he did other stuff, but everyone was just like, you're Luke Skywalker. Until now, when people can start to see him in other things, in like the last, I'd say like last 15, 20 years maybe, he started to branch away more, because it's like, oh, you're not just Luke Skywalker. In a way, probably, actually, I think the new Star Wars films helped Mark Hamill. I think people go, oh, fuck this is fucked, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they just went, we don't care about this anymore. Yeah. So now you're free, Mr. Hamill, you're free. Yeah, We've finally released you.
But, I mean, I think all of the main cast are good in this. And I think it's, especially, let's be honest, with horror movies, it's hard to say all of the cast in this are putting on kind of good performances.
Yeah.
It's kind of quite rare you could say that.
But this one, again, falls into that kind of, because it's both like, in many ways, a classic novel. It's also got a sci-fi tint. It's got a thriller tint. It's got and I think another thing that helps it in many ways is it's not completely played like it falls into one genre. It feels very much like he's mixing this into like multiple things, kind of thing. It feels like you're watching a thriller that just happens to have in it people like.
But it has like a genuine creep factor about it.
It does, yeah.
You know, like I found myself just watching it and thinking it. A lot of 70s films do have kind of like a. I think they're shot really interestingly.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure exactly what film they were using, but it looks great. A lot of the tones are incredible. But there was just something I found myself watching it, and I guess because I don't really know what the storyline is.
Yeah.
I just found myself genuinely watching it along and being like, how is this going to happen? Like you see the people throwing the stuff in the rubbish bins.
Yeah.
And you're already thinking like something's like happening. What the fuck is?
Yeah, because you're looking at like, what the fuck is all that? Like, it's basically just looks like piles of dust.
Yeah, like
it's just in the bins. You know what I mean? And they're not caring. And it's also the way that you start to really just like look at every character and go like, are you one? Are you already one? Or you've changed? Like, because there's nothing that changed. There's nothing technically. It's more about obviously the boyfriend changes because he goes from a bit of a bit of a slob kind of character, even though she said dentist, and I was like, fuck off, is he a dentist?
Yeah, he's not a dentist.
Until then suddenly he's in his suit, so now he's a dentist. Offending all the dentists out there. Now you are lacking any personality. Now you're a dentist.
Well, let's be honest. Like there's certain people who are drawn to certain things. I don't like dentists. I have it on-site beef with them, and boring as fuck.
I mean, you could be drawn. I mean, the horror genre and dentists, I feel like would go hand in hand. If you love watching people die, then you'd love to be a dentist. If you like people suffering, I like to watch people as they scream and have shit pulled out of them. That's basically a horror film.
Or Jigsaw, you know.
Yeah. Jigsaw, perfect.
I suppose he wasn't a dentist. But there's this one scene that I think is great when they're driving in the car, and they're both kind of talking about. She's saying, "Oh, Jack's kind of changed. Like it's not him. I followed him. I saw him like meet all these people who." Doesn't know who they are.
It's just this weird thing. Like at first, she thought he was cheating on her because he was going off with a nurse, and then suddenly it was like a whole thing. And then she was just like, "What the fuck? Is an orgy or something?"
Yeah, like an orgy where they're just passing bags of dirt to each other.
Yeah, just bags of dirt.
Bags of dirt. But I thought that was great. And then there's Donald Sutherland doesn't really quite believe her yet. He's a bit like, something like that, but
there's always an explanation.
It's in the city. In the city, people are weird in the city.
Yeah, but he's also, I think, again, like it's the weird thing that relates back to that job kind of thing, like the way that he seems to be. He's already like an investor. Like, the shit. I'd never think of the food department being like, here's our lab where we're going to work on all, and I'm going to work deep into the night to find out.
Yeah, of course.
I can't. I don't know if that's what actual food inspectors do. I just don't feel like that's true. I feel like most of them go, this is a shithole, F or whatever.
Well, this is a shithole. 5-star hygiene rating.
Yeah.
Here you are, Chinese
shithole.
kebab.
There's my money, thank you. 5 stars. The style of him being the investigator, but I think also because he's always like, there's always a deeper truth to this that like we'll find out what the real answer is.
Yeah.
In his investigative brain, he's like, there's an explanation for this. There's always an explanation for it. You know, whether it's a shit in some food, or whether it's alien pod people. There's realism here.
There's a little something.
You know, obviously it takes him to like literally like see this happening to fully go, oh, okay, fuck.
Well, they encounter the weird guy who kind of runs. I love that he's driving around a cracked screen.
Well, the great thing is the way that a lot of this is all shot, like it's either on their faces or it's shot from behind, as if someone's obviously the camera set up behind. Also, the little touches of things, like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of directors will be like, like he gets the screen broken at the start of the film by the guy that throws the wine bottle into it because he's giving them a bad hygiene rating. And then it's the fact that we follow that. So again, it's those those odd touches where a lot of directors will go, well, no, because I won't be able to clearly see through the screen. And yet the crack adds a kind of an element to it. I don't know why. Like, we're following it along, and you're almost focusing on like the crack at times, and then you miss like the things that suddenly like, shit, as if it's like draw the attention away from it. Whereas if it was clear and you might not be like. I like those little touches that he's done here, but the script when he arrives, like the guy comes in front screaming at them. Although there is an odd, because obviously after he screams at them, he then runs off down around the road. There's a bit when Donald Sutherland like screams. He goes like, "Oh!" like that, and I was like, "Damn." I was like, that was a bit like, I don't know why. I was just like, it felt so like.
It's just Donald Sutherland ejaculating. They couldn't cut it out.
Like, you can't see, you're not, obviously it doesn't go in on his face, but, because you just see him go around the corner and then you see something like, you see like the car go down.
And all the people chase him.
We don't actually, you see all the people chasing, but we don't actually get to see like the car like go boom straight into, like we see the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
Because I went back to that scene, I was like, what? Because I kept thinking, am I missing? Like I was missing it, and you see the people go after, and then you see the car go down, and then he goes, oh! So it's like Donald Sutherland's response is how you know that something's actually happened. Otherwise, it would be like. I was almost sat there like, did they add in that afterwards? Because they realised when they shot it that they couldn't actually see it happen. So like, Donald, we're going to have to add in a giant sound so we know something bad's
We need you to scream, Donald. Ah!
But then we get that bloody scene of him like all mashed up on the ground.
I'd have loved it if they were like, we're all getting this guy. They all just got out of the car and chased him as well. It's so good.
And then, but they get the whole...
his body on the side. But
everyone's just stood around staring. There's no one reacting, no one doing anything.
So weird.
You know, and like this is also when we get introduced, like in the next scene, obviously when he's trying to ring to be like, what happened with and no one's giving him anything. Like he's like, what? Someone was literally mowed down. That you must have something on this. No. At the same time, is the weirdness of Mr. Jeff Goldblum's appearance here, as he like possibly like the rudest person in the world at this point in the film. The first get you go like, fucking hell, man, let him ring the guy. He's on the phone. And you're just fucking screaming in his face like, oh, he's fucking he's shit. This basically talking about Leonard Nimoy's character being like, he doesn't know what he's talking. He's shit. He's like, it's like, I'm fucking trying to talk on the phone. Like you're just there like, fucking trying to talk.
Jeff Goldblum, you're screaming.
I'm already in a fucking busy place, and now you're screaming in my face. No wonder I can't hear what's going on down the phone. So you got that weird but there's that weird chaotic nature of it. Like at times, like it has that kind of weird, like there's so much going on, like you almost can't like focus on what's happening, kind of thing. Like as if lots of things are almost constantly trying to distract away from the obvious truth of like if you could just see what certain people are like, because you've got people in the club who are very like energetic, and then you've got people who are just stood there.
Yeah.
When you look at the shots, kind of thing. So it's almost like you can pick out the ones that seem to be overly now just kind of like.
Just blank.
Yeah, and it's not that they don't always act blank, because they do sometimes take on the persona, but it's almost like you can see like they're only joining in when they need to join in, kind of thing. You get that weirdness. So Jeff Goldblum's kind of over the topness with them again, and then I will say again, and then onto his weird ass, his job. It's like just weird.
But then I like that there is that noise, because I feel like if you stuck with the original small town setting, that you expect a quietness, whereas seeing this kind of like hustling city just slowly just start to get quieter and quieter is, I think it's fantastic.
That noises, the busyness, like everything looks quite like busy and like everyone's thing, and then slowly people seem to just start to get more and more like
subdued.
Subdued, like what's going on. So you start to see it a little bit more, like areas are cleared and stuff like that. Like when you basically get to the end of, like late at the end of the film, if you're going on that track, basically it's just empty. There's like barely any. There's no one there apart from like one, and then it's like one character appears. Like that's like the chaoticness you see. Like not that every scene is like packed in. Like we're in their apartment, and suddenly there's loads of people packed in there. But like some of those this is parts like, and those visuals that we get of like, because obviously early in the film, like I said, like the boyfriend, you get that kind of where she's got like the plant and she leaves it by her bed and things like that, and then you get like the colours, like an aura of colours that are appearing. We don't get to actually see it happen at that point. We just get the implication.
The implication. But also at the party, it's the part where we're introduced to the woman who's talking about how her husband's changed and how she, he's kind of like quiet and he's not who he was, and she's like freaking out that something's happening, and Mr. Leonard Nimoy
is trying to talk her down.
Did
gaslighting her.
Did you? Yeah, well, it's the 70s. It's what we did to women. Hysterical women. We either gaslit them to calm down, or we put them in asylums and gave them electric shocks. That was the humane option.
That was what we did then.
That's what we did then. But did you suspect Mr. Leonard Nimoy?
Yeah,
as early as this.
I mean, it constantly felt like this Leonard Nimoy.
Mr.
Leonard Nimoy. It just seemed like he was an obvious, like, because he was trying to downplay everything, wasn't he? But then at the same time, you weren't sure whether he just literally was just a doctor kind of thing. Like, he seems very much like you're following him. So I don't believe that he was, like, the way that he had his own kind of true emotion and things like that. Like, I don't think early in the film that he is.
No, I don't think they've
I think because at these points when he's reacting to people's emotions and things like that, the way he's able to talk them down, I don't think any of the other ones, once they're changed, are able to quite concoct things. The originality of his thought, I think, is something that makes it different. Whereas before they're copying their thoughts and their changes and stuff like that, but they still, when you hear them talk, they still seem somewhat subdued and stuff. He's got a passion to him, like when he's talking to Elizabeth outside of the after he's basically like shouted in Jeff Goldblum's face, and he's just like, what the fuck is he shouting in my face for? Like trying to make Jeff Goldblum understand to calm down, but he's like, no. But yes, the Mr. Dibney here is very much trying to gaslight Elizabeth into being like, you saw nothing.
He tries to Jedi mind trick. And they're like, wrong film.
wrong franchise.
Wrong franchise, right?
There you go. Don't get on the wrong side of that one.
Yeah.
They'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, they will.
I was thinking more of the old, the Little Britain, look into the eyes, not in the eyes. That kind of, like, he's trying to do that to her. Like, It's the fact that he manages to calm down to see like a reality of it, but then at the same time you're like, well, she's seen some shit at this point, so I don't think you're fully getting her out of this, what I mean? But Donald Sutherland's Matt is still very much like wavering at the same time, because he's now seen that obviously when he's crashed, but you can still that he's still fighting the full on, like, I don't think until he fully sees like Elizabeth, for instance, like the pod, that he fully goes, oh fuck, this action. Okay, shit.
Well, we then get to the weird, the very weird bit where Jeff Goldblum and his lovely wife, played by Veronica Cartwright, they have a mud spa.
Yeah, they have a mud, like, this is what I mean about the weird, like, of all the things to be like, we'll give them a job. You know what I mean? For some reason, I already find food inspector kind of odd that they weren't there. To take it away from doctor to food inspector, I just think it's, like, odd. But
I kind of get food inspector because they both work at the Department of Health.
Yeah, and
he's food, she's
chemicals,
like something
and
else. So I kind of see that.
I can see how that links to like how they're able to have access to things if they want to check things and stuff like that. I just think there's many other roles that are normally the obvious. I'm not against it. It adds a weird like uniqueness to it that you're not normally like rooting for the food inspector. But
well, actually, usually you are. You want clean food.
I am in that way, but it's not normally a job that you see like putting the thing like it's like a traffic warden. You're not normally like yes. Well done, you're stopping the streets from being cluttered and horrible. Normally most people are like, you're doing a good job, but kind of a dick.
Yeah, technically,
you're both on both sides of those things in my mind for some reason. Unless it's the food I'm eating. If it's my restaurant, you're a dick.
You're a dick. The rats are fine. They're part of the place.
They're part of that.
They're on the payroll.
He makes the food. God damn it! That food's delicious. Doesn't matter if it gets some shit in it every once in a while.
Yeah, and I love
cuisine.
I love that they were like, well, we've got this. Okay, we've adapted it to be a bit more interesting for Donald Sutherland and Elizabeth. And how about Jeff Goldblum and Veronica Cartwright? They have a weird mud spa, and there's implication that his wife tosses off fat old men. Like, what about that?
I feel like you read into that implication.
Maybe. But
I mean, to be fair, at first I wasn't even certain that I thought she just worked there at first anyway. I didn't even think she was. I thought she was just a side character at first that was just going to be like, when he comes in and talks to her, but I didn't straight away go, that's your wife. I thought she was just someone that worked at his weird, he's going for a little spritz or whatever, the bathhouse or whatever.
But at first I was...
Old men that probably get wanked off.
Probably get wanked off. I was like, this is the 70s.
Yeah.
San Francisco, this is a bed, this is a massage parlour. Somebody's getting jerked off.
I don't know about anyone else, but I'm definitely not like, if I'm not going to a place like that and be like, so how many men today have been in that mud?
Yeah.
What's the ratio of mud to semen at this point?
Yeah, you can wash your hands, you can't wash the mud.
The mud will stick to my skin and embed the semen into my pores.
And I'll do a DNA test, and I've got like 5 other people's DNA in it.
They'll put their hands in. It'll be like in Lord of the Rings when the goblins come out the pit, like, fucking hell, there are children in there. There are goblins coming out of this mud. They've impregnated the mud.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of goo in there.
So you get like the big lad who can't even get out the mud bath, and then you've got the bearded man reading his book who is weirdly like
reading a book in a mud bath.
Yeah, I just kept looking at it and going, fuck that, look at that book, it's already covered it's splattered in mud. I don't want my book. That's going to ruin the book right there.
Yeah.
I know some people are like, it's to be used and thrown out. I'm looking at it going like, I don't want to be. My pages are going to be stuck together.
Well, go there. They've got to be stuck together.
Not the kind of book he's reading.
Yeah, it's a communal book.
Communal.
Yeah.
I mean, communal, but that stuck together for a different reason. As
you said. But was mud baths like this? Was this like a popular thing?
Well,
I don't know, because it looks quite seedy.
But I think, well, to be fair, in certain communities, like things like like the bathhouses, mud baths, things like that, like especially like, well, again, this is in quite a lot of films within the Jewish community, go into like what they call like a spritz or something, like that kind of thing. It's actually quite a common thing, I think. And in America, like going to in certain areas is actually quite a common thing to go down to, go get yourself in the steam rooms, go get yourself in the thing, It's not just like for going to gym. It's not something we really do over here. That
no.
Like, we have. I don't know about the mud bath thing. That's definitely not a common male thing anyway.
No.
But we do have like steam rooms and like gyms and spas and stuff. But I wouldn't say generally in population I know many men who are like, yes, I'm going to have my massage done on my spa day, or it's definitely skews more female than male.
Or
like
fat men.
Or if you're going to it, it's normally like maybe you're going for a couples one, but I don't know, like loads of like constantly that people like that. Whereas in America, I think it's quite a common thing for males to be going down to the back, and again in other cultures like in Japan and China, there's a common thing of going down to the bathhouses and things like that. But we don't really have that. It's not really a UK thing, I think. Maybe it's because you step out of it and you're like, fucking hell, it's cold.
Yeah.
Freezing mud.
And now everyone thinks I've got a really small penis. Yeah. Instead of just a small one,
It was small before.
And
now it's like the little turtle.
Now it's like a nut. Like a little piece of corn.
Yeah. It's already cold enough to be like that. In your hot countries, you can go around with your penis flapping and it's fine. We can't do that over here.
No, we can't. And is the mud hot?
We're going to weird places.
We're going to weird places. But at this...
The mud does appear hot, because I swear it like bubbles at points.
That's what Guy fired.
That might be the guy.
Either way, after this weird wank off
the
mud
warm
bath,
mud. Well, it's mud, so it's got to be warm, otherwise it would be going hard.
Yeah, but some mud can be boggy.
Yeah, boggy mud. I don't think they go to like the local swamp and get the bog mud.
I don't know.
It's mainly full of like horrible water. I think it's mud that's been warmed to keep it muddy. I don't know. It's probably not even mud. It's just like some chemical. We know very little about this. If you run a bathhouse, come and talk to us.
Yes, let us know the mud to semen
ratio. Yes, how many people have you whacked off this week?
Yeah.
Right, back to but it's weird. It's a weird thing to be. It feels weird to have like. Because this guy who seems an intellectual when you meet him, he's like talking about and he's a writer and things like that. So then to suddenly be like, my main job is I run a mud bathhouse. Just I don't know why it just suddenly was like, but it's the same thing. Like I feel like all of the jobs, those two jobs that we're talking about, there's just something you're like. This isn't usual. This isn't like the usual. Mr. Kaufman has a strange like interest in like the differences. Maybe in the 70s, these were very common jobs. These were what you aspired to be.
Yeah,
the food inspector and running your own mud bathhouse.
That's like being a tech millionaire, you know. That's why, or an influencer. That's what I want to be when I grow up.
But again, I think it's the weird like of if they're trying to somewhat go against like because we so easily could have had a scene here where the exact same stuff that kind of almost happens could have happened in the same way if Donald Sutherland's character or even Jeff Goldblum's was a doctor in a hospital bed when this stuff goes and he starts to, you know what I mean, you can see the same thing happening. Like it seems like an obvious thing to have almost like where you've got like patients that are being taken over in their beds and thinking they're hiding it away or down in the morgue, you know, that would be the obvious. And again, he seems to subdue that and go away from that by having these kind of odd, like, specific things, maybe of San Francisco in the 70s to make it. But it does somewhat make it feel, again, very, like, niche and very, like, maybe of its time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a good thing, actually. Like, I feel like we've seen the whole in the hospital bed and then the doctors.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen those ideas played out a lot. So this weirdly being in the middle of a bathhouse where the guy starts getting rubbed down, and then we later find that he's starting to that we're starting to get like Jeff Goldblum's body is being copied almost from like things like that we're starting to see, and the old guy's basically like gone. And we also get because there's also and again playing on the red herrings of who it is, because the guy that's in the bath, we're like this guy's weird. This guy's changed, right? And then we get where he takes what is it, Nancy, Nancy into the back, like it leaving, and then they close the door, and then there's a huge like screeching sound that obviously we get later. So I assume that Nancy was being taken or something kind of thing. So she's suspected majority of the film to be, and she's constantly played to be, you're one of them. Like you're almost watching her going like, well, it feels like we saw you get changed in this scene, that you were taken or something then. So every time she's in the other scene, she almost seems like she is the imposter. Like she's the one that should be there. Like, because you're thinking, like, even in scenes later when she's like appears with Jack, after Jack's run, like her and Jack ran away, and then she appears again, like she's survived. You're like, well, that just seems suspect. Your husband's got a lot, but your husband got, but you didn't. And there are crowds of them out there, but you're somehow okay. You know what I mean? So it's weird because they play on that throughout the film with her, and I think it starts with this scene when you're like, well, we see her go into the exit or the room or whatever with that guy. The door closes, and then we get a weird screeching sound. But then I think it's obviously meant to then. Obviously, looking back, it must be from one of the other people, like, happening to them. But it's still, you get that weird sound, and I was like, "What the fuck is it? Like, what's going on here?" So it does very much like play with it, even when it's like when it was first, because it's like Jeff Goldblum's body being like onto the thing, isn't it? Like that you start to see. But at first,
is it Jeff Goldblum or is it Jack? I thought it was Jack.
Jack,
her partner. I don't think it's Jeff Goldblum.
What, in the Madhouse?
Yeah, I'm sure it's not Jeff Goldblum.
No, I think it's Jeff Goldblum. It's his, because it has to be someone that's nearby to make the thing work.
Yeah, I don't think it's Jeff Goldblum though.
I at first I thought, because I thought it was literally as if it had changed the fat guy into like broken. Well, that's what I thought. I thought it was him, but the body type, it was like, because Jeff Goldblum's character goes up to it and goes, "Fucking hell!" Like that's as if that looks like him.
But I'm sure they later because so they discover the body. They
her boyfriend's already changed, hasn't
he has. But naturally, if you find a body, you call Donald Sutherland, to come and say it's a dead body, and then I'm sure he says it looks just. Is his name Jack? Or was her partner?
It is Jack. Yeah, no, that is Jack. Jeff Goldblum's character.
That
is Jack. Yeah,
because when I thought her partner was
it looked like Jeff Goldblum.
I was just calling him Jeff Goldblum. In my defence,
her partner, I think, is Ted.
Ted, that's it.
Yeah,
because
Ted.
It is. It's obviously Jeff Goldblum. Because when he was like, it looks like Jack, I thought her boyfriend.
Because it's when he comes out of like the steam room. I guess it's somewhat implying that maybe he fell asleep while he was in the steam room. Because then he comes out, kind of thing, and they're like, "What the fuck is this on the other bed?" Because,
there you go.
Because the big guy was on there, so I thought it was the big guy that was obviously being like, because he starts to appear odd, doesn't he? Like changed. It's weird, but that's why I was confused. I was like, are they like absorbing the fat guy in order to make a Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? Like at that point, I'll admit at that point I got a little bit like, what's actually happening with this right now? But yeah, obviously this is like the key scene when they actually see, like, Nancy sees the body, Jack sees the body. They're like, oh fuck, this
Something's
is
going on.
real. And then we also obviously get the bit with like in the house when obviously Elizabeth's gone home, and she's got that she already like suspecting trying to stay with Ted, and then we get the whole Donald Sutherland then also being like fucking hell, like coming into the house, sneaking into the house and seeing Elizabeth growing in like a little greenhousery bit outside on the deck kind of thing. And they're like fucking hell, but it looks really cool. I like the way that they kind of you almost see like an aging that's happening to the real person, but not like a full on, like as if it's more like as if their skin's just going really dry, so they're getting like a layer of dry skin over their faces and things like that. But when they're like growing and building, like it's like damn, taken away as she's growing out, and obviously you have to wake them up. So when they're in their sleep, that's when their body gets fully like taken, and then their body basically breaks down to mush and ash. Basically, is what we find out is how this like changes in their body. But then from this point, again, we get like where they go back to Mr. David Kibner and Mr. Leonard Nimoy, and they're basically like, well, we've fucking seen it now. Yeah. And he's still trying to gaslight us, be like, you didn't see shit.
You didn't see it.
You didn't see
it. I'm a doctor. You didn't see anything.
So I will admit, there's one thing I actually don't. Mr. Kibner, is there a point when we actually find out that he actually is? Is that revealed?
No.
I don't think because I'm not fully convinced. I just think he's a bit of a guy that's just set in his goddamn way.
No,
I didn't fully believe that he was like a change. I just felt that he was sticking to his closed-minded ideals, that he believes that this is what someone is as a psychiatrist.
I think he's taken off camera.
The last time we see him is when they go back into that, and they basically with freaking the cops. They've talked to the police and been like, the body was freaking here.
Yeah, they do that.
No one's believing shit. But then at that point, you're like, are the cops all changed now? Is everyone changed? Like, they seem so quick, and we get obviously him saying that he'll take them under his care, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but they're not like they're trying to make him believe. They're trying to make him understand. And he's saying, "I'll believe you if you say so. I've known you a long time. I'll believe. I'll get the mayor involved." That's the conversation they have on the roof with Donald Sutherland. Well, I think he's still him then.
No, I think he's been got by then.
You think he's got? I think he's still,
because that's
him.
That is a point where he also leaves, and he tells. I'm pretty sure he says like, just go to sleep, get some rest, and I'll be back. And my thought is that
he's told them to do that.
He's told them to do that so that they can get them. I think he's been got by.
It's it because we don't see him again after that too. I think that's
not until the end.
The end, yeah.
Yeah, you don't see him because I think he's been got. There.
Well, he said he was going towards the mail, so I wasn't 100% because I was like, because he's just giving general psychiatric advice.
Yeah,
and I'm more thinking he goes to the mayor, and then he's like, well, fuck. You're already gone. Like, that's when he's taken.
Maybe.
I like to think it could be. It could be like that he's leading them, because then obviously this is a scene, and this is like the scene when we truly get to see the transformation.
It's great.
Happen out. And when we get to see Donald Sutherland falling asleep on the deck chair.
And I think because I didn't have any idea how the body snatching was happening.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the films that we've got in this kind of series, I was under the impression it was going to be some kind of like from the plant it would release something and then they'd go inside the body and take it over that way, like it is in the other films we've got. Not replication. So when I saw her body kind of being grown, I was like, how the fuck is this working?
It does make for a really cool, because it normally is like, people taken off to this room, and other films in this Body Snatch have that kind of in it, where it's like something's got onto them, or something's put inside of them, or they're taken off somewhere, and suddenly they're taken away, and then suddenly they come back, and you just know there's something different about them.
Yeah.
Whereas this film, it's like the humanity, but then there's the oddness of like they still somewhat act like themselves though when they've changed. So it really creates this kind of, you never really are truly sure who is what at certain points. But when you see the plant start to like, and I really love the intricate. There's really intricate special effects in this one, like the organism at the beginning, the plant coming out. But this one with the little vines and stuff like that moving, like the way that they made the effects of that. Like as if like in like a almost stop motion kind of style, but it looks really effective. And then when it starts to link around his hand and goes onto him, and
then it kind of like.
And all it takes really is the touch. All it takes is that kind of almost touch to just grip onto him and suddenly start replicating him.
It's so good.
And I see his body changing and forming and things like that. It's really effective.
Yeah, I love him like falling asleep and seeing the skyline.
Yeah,
and just thinking like it's such a big city, and even though like. We're following just a handful of characters, there's something quite scary about knowing that there could be a whole bunch of other people that this is happening to. And it also got me thinking like just stuff like this happening overnight, you know, like whenever you think about like a zombie apocalypse or anything like that, you always think of it happening during the day, but if something happened during the night, you're so defenseless.
Yeah. And this is also the scene that makes you go like, well, they're completely freaking because one, you can't see it.
No,
you can't see that little like the pod vines coming out. You don't know what you're looking for. It appears as if they can appear almost anywhere that plant could be dropped, or they can even like go for the grass like the way you don't even see it until it's fully jumping up at him, like coming out of him. And it's not like quick, it's not fast kind of thing. It slowly makes its way onto him, like. I think some of these things is what makes you kind of look at it and go like, this is a director who really understands how to like it, who's almost probably somewhat feels like one very influenced by filmmakers. I think of earlier things like he said like the 50s, he took it from those ones.
Yeah.
But there's also kind of those stylistics of like European cinema, and there's a range of, like it is one of those ones when you can see like this is a director who kind of knows his film. Yeah. And he knows what he's doing, and he knows that his shot doesn't just. Whereas if this had just been like a standard director, you'd have very more straightforward shots. This is very much like looking at the planet, looking at the earth, looking around them, letting the city kind of like be these big, wide open shots so you can see what's going on. And I think that's something that makes this feel a little bit more like timeless, because it feels very specific to the director that this is a style that he's gone with.
Yeah.
When you could have a much more obvious shots, or you could have the creatures be much more like in your face, but it's all very like, again, the whole film has a kind of a grounded feel to it. It's very low level. It's not over the top constantly. I'd say almost the end scene is when it majorly has
but it seems to jump into
but that kind of juxtaposes against the rest of the film, so it kind of works. Like the explosion scene that happens, it obviously is a big scene, but that scene feels like most of those, whereas a lot of this is very like just the character, and having this where it's just like there. It's just 1 minute you're seeing his, and then suddenly you look at a wider shot and you just see all of these bodies growing in this. All of them are growing in the patch. You see, like it's four of them, isn't it? It's all four of them that are in there, are all just growing, and you're like, fucking hell, like this just happened, and suddenly they're growing so fast as well. They're not like, it's not like a slow build kind of thing. Like within moments you're going from a little thing that's coming out, this crying and again the creepiness of like the almost like baby like thing coming out, like it looks, not quite a baby, more like a small baby, a very small person,
a small person, Donald Sutherland,
and then like transforming, but before your eyes you start to see him changing into that kind of Donald Sutherland-esque. You know what I mean? Like all those parts of him, his fro starts to grow out.
His huge penis.
His massive penis.
His massive penis. It is. It's so creepy and it's so well done.
Yeah.
And then this is the point where knowing that end bit, knowing where he's the classic Sutherland scream.
Yeah.
I thought watching it like Donald Sutherland is clearly going to get taken now. Because you have a bit where he goes to alert everybody else. They come, they see what's happening. And then there's a whole bunch of, body snatched fellas coming to get them. And Donald Sutherland is like, I'm a dog. I'll stay. You go. Yeah. And he crushes his own head. I thought he was going to get got.
Yeah.
And then the fake Sutherland would catch up with them, and that was going to be like the twist there. But they go on like this.
It did feel like that was the only one thing I thought was going to happen like sooner in this film was that one of us is actually already one of them. Like it felt like this was the one where, even though in many ways Elizabeth and Matt, Donald Sutherland and Brooke are the main characters in this film.
Yeah.
We kind of get a bit of both. It felt like one of them was gonna go like earlier. Like I almost felt like Donald Sutherland's character was gonna end up being changed like sooner than we thought, but it didn't quite happen that way.
No.
And they all managed to like get out of there as it's going, but they need Jack and Nancy to basically runs off to distract them away, so they'll follow him instead, which is something that's in the book as well.
Yeah.
It has a similar kind of thing that happens in the book. That kind of to distract them away from it so that Matt and Elizabeth can continue, but it's very little amount of time after they run off that Elizabeth is fully taken.
Yeah.
She just fucking falls asleep in the middle of a like they're on the run and she just falls asleep in the middle of a
yeah.
Like it literally all it takes is him to go to the fence and look over and see that you can see like things in the city and explosion, like things are going off in the city, like things are changing.
Yeah.
Obviously realising that there's more people who are starting to realise something's going on, but it's changing. And then he just looks back over like, fucking hell, you fellas, we were stood here a minute ago, lass, and you've already fallen, you're already getting grown again,
Yeah.
It almost makes you like, you've got to believe that either due to the amount that she's been absorbed, like she's now twice that this has happened, that her body's just like, her body's like fading anyway.
Churning them out,
or as if it latches onto you, it causes some kind of effect or something, because you've got to believe that there's something that's caused it to just suddenly drop off like that.
Yeah.
But I love this scene when it's like, again, she's kind of been the first character you saw in the film. She is, in many ways, alongside Donald Sutherland, the main character, and then she's gone.
Well, you're skipping some bits, man. You're skipping some bits. Because you get the great bit where Jeff Goldblum, heroically sacrifices himself, running away, and then
fuck it out, you're a mile away already.
And I'm like, if I'm sacrificing myself for you, no, sacrifice yourself with me. I'm doing it for you.
Yeah.
And then
I know
they're hiding behind some like crates.
Yeah.
And there's just the bit where they shine the torch over them, clearly see them, and just ignore them. And I'm like, well, okay. But we get to there's a great bit where they kind of go back onto the city streets, and they're walking past people, and you're kind of thinking like, who's got already, who isn't. And then as the people kind of walk past, they all stop and then just turn.
Yeah.
And then just start walking after them. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then I think they get got, and Leonard Nimoy and Jack turn up. Yeah. And Leonard Nimoy's got at this point. He's been got.
Yeah.
And he's saying like, well, there's no pain. Like, isn't it something like the planet like wasted away, or they had to leave because it wasn't getting viable?
Yeah.
So they came to Earth.
We're going to take your planet.
We're going to take your planet, but it's painless.
So you won't feel it. You'll be freed of this world, this life.
Free.
Kind of thing, yeah.
You won't have to worry about like emotions. You won't have to worry about any of that sort of stuff. And then they inject them, don't they?
Yeah.
But Donald Sutherland, absolute dog, manages to get out, snaps Jack's neck, just off Jeff Goldblum, just cracks his neck, and then chucks Leonard Nimoy in a freezer. Fuck him. And this is where.
But this is also when we get to see shots of the manufacturing of these things as well, because we've also got when they're in the city, you see a bit when they're loading things off of the crate, which is the pods being handed off to people. Yeah. Like there's that's matching like in the books. It has a similar scene where basically they're like, these ones are going to this city, these ones are going to this town, as if like they're spreading it wider and wider. So now we're going to take these. So like they're handing them off to people, but it's literally almost like a military thing. So you're like, fucking hell, it's just they've taken the military basically. Yeah, so now they're just going to all the cities and just handing out pods to each city to be like, take these to your mothers. Take these. I'll go get your dad.
Yeah. Well, you think how quickly it would happen. How it would happen so quickly.
Majority of people are all asleep at the majority of the time at the same time. So it's just like we'll just sneak in,
stick a couple of pods in,
take a family, another it's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've got a point now. The bit where we see Veronica,
it's the terrifying part of it.
Yeah, where she says like, you just mask and just pretend that you're one of them.
Yeah.
I was thinking she's definitely one.
Oh yeah.
And I was, if that was me, I would have clattered her.
I was already crediting her from earlier in the scene, so I was like, now you definitely are. I was like, even the fact that you went and like get that choice to go after Jack, I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? So it's almost as if you know that you're not going to get into any harm by following him, kind of thing, or you knew that you needed to keep track of something or things like that. So it's already like that. But when she's there, she seems so, again, like she said, she's masking her emotions.
Yeah.
That you're just like, nah, you're definitely not. It should be here.
Yeah, it's just like, where's Jack? Like, we need to go get Jack.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Snap his neck.
Snap his neck. they got him.
It would be so classic. Donald Sutherland just said, I snapped his neck hours ago.
I snapped his neck very easily, and I kind of enjoyed it.
I can show you how I did.
Show you.
Get your neck right in here.
Your neck.
Snap your neck too, just to show you.
But the bit where they see the dog, the dog.
Oh, the dog. Yeah, that is like, well, yeah. Again, when it gets that kind of factory city, like of the streets and stuff like that, when you get where the guy had basically been interrupted. That was earlier with Donald Sutherland's character, where it was like the guy like kind of wake up, as if the dog and the man, like the creature, then got confused by the two and mixed them together.
Yeah.
Shit, you're partially dog.
Dog man.
I definitely don't remember any reference to weird dog man in the book.
Yeah, in the book.
This is obviously a way that it's obviously a way it's showing us that
shock
that they don't fully, like, if you mix the DNA together, they don't fully understand the DNA. They're just replicating it. So they somewhat thought the homeless man and the dog were the same creature.
Yeah.
And they just took both.
Yeah.
Or interrupted, so they've given them his face on the dog.
Imagine if that was your mate. You're like, everybody else has got okay. They're all replicas, fine, and then you see your mate, and it's just his face on a dog.
Into a dog.
And you're like, oh, okay.
It's just like your head on Carrie's body.
Yeah, my head on my cat's
body, just like...
just take me out. Just kill me, mate. You know, like...
Yeah.
You wouldn't let him live it down.
Yeah, just let me, like, it should have just had it. It just, to be fair, it just looks like literally, it is like as if they've just like put a latex mask on top of the dog quickly to take a shot of it. That's all they're like, there's no like talking like, kill me.
Kill me, please.
Let me die.
Yeah. You can see it in the eyes, it's begging for death.
It's like, what am I?
Yeah. But I think this is the part that I don't think I'm particularly big on.
Yeah.
Is the whole factory part. Like, I get it. I do. I kind of. I plot wise and horror wise, I like it, and I like the idea of it kind of like spreading.
Yeah.
But them kind of loading it onto ships, and then the bit where he's kind of in the factory. I feel like it. I don't know.
I think I'm partially my brain. To be fair, when I went to the Elizabeth part earlier, is because this section of the film, almost the explanation section of the film, there are some great shots, like you said, in this part.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bits where it is a lot of people kind of almost expositionally explaining you, or really having to throw it in your face to be like, this is how we do it, or this is how it works. And I don't know why, because the film had been so like low key, kind of grounded, subdued, and it had been about very much a couple, like these couples that had been just part of it, who would just do kind of, I guess, in a way, again, the kind of different everyday kind of standard jobs kind of thing. I feel like it would better to just be like them, and not have to fully explain it, or which I know films have to, but sometimes you do have certain films where you're like, this probably is where this is just their story, just contain it to their story. They're not necessarily going to fall upon every single part of the plan kind of thing. Like, it's one thing about film structures when you're like, you get it, and even when you're reading a book, you're like, yeah, you need to I guess you need to explain how this works. But then there are many films and books that when they don't do that, you're almost like, this kind of raises it a bit for me, because realistically, they're never just going to, I just fell apart the factory of where they make these in the city.
Yeah.
Like, here it is, kind of thing. I better help we better do something to destroy this and survive, even though it's like, we've been spending this whole time trying to avoid and get away from this. Like, really, you'd be like, yeah, let's go the opposite direction.
Exactly.
Let's get away from this. Let's not run towards this, because I know the whole like thing, but nothing about these characters fully goes into the whole, maybe Jack, maybe, I guess, the way he like heroically runs off to save it kind of thing, but he's already gone. But nothing about Donald Sutherland character necessarily telling like, these are the people that are trying to like stop this from happening completely. In many ways, it feels like they are just trying to survive and get away from this the best they can.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It feels as if it goes from being quite like a human story about we need to survive, we need to alert the right people so that they can deal with it. It becomes, Donald Sutherland is now got to stop the factory and shut them down and save the world.
Yeah.
And it feels as if the stakes kind of raise, but unnecessarily.
Yeah,
You know,
it is that part. This is, to be fair, this is like I said in the book, in a way, it has a little bit of that, like, we have to stop it. But I will say the difference in my mind between, say, the book and the film here would be, if you're in a small town and you truly believe, a little bit in the book, it's almost implied a little bit that this might only be just starting here.
Yeah.
Then I guess in some ways in the book you can almost justify the idea that, okay, if you could stop this from spreading, then you would stop it. But I feel like in this film it feels very much like, well, this is a city.
They need to bomb.
You know what I mean? Like, if this is where it's starting, but we like, and again, I guess we could say drop down, but we already get the feeling with like the military and stuff like that maybe this is already out there kind of thing. It just feels the difference in scale changes that story a little bit. If you can stop it in a small town that's only got like 400 people, I don't know what it was, but you know what I mean. Like, so you can have small towns there that have like 1,000 people, 400 people. They're like, maybe we can contain this if we get the military here, which is very much the book. Whereas here it feels very much more like, well, there's too many people.
Yeah.
Like, this is spread across an entire city now. People have probably already left the city.
Of course.
You could have hundreds of thousands of people in different directions already, like that kind of thing. You're kind of already a bit screwed. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really... You're not stopping... By intervening in this right now, you're no longer stopping shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a slight difference for me. But again, that is also a part of the book that some people don't like anyway, because it's a story that becomes the survival that then suddenly becomes I'm going to be the hero.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to... There's a something about Donald Sutherland's character here that to me is just like, I don't know. You just don't... You're not the hero for some reason. I never get the hero vibe from you. You're mainly kind of here to, like, you found something and you're trying to be, you know, I guess in the food business, you're trying to be the hero. But in here, it feels very much more like this should be a survival story and you're trying to survive with Elizabeth kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying to do. Trying to take it to the next level. I think the scale makes it seem also just implausible in a way to me.
Of course. At this point, it feels like you've done your job. Get Leon Kennedy in.
Yeah.
Get Arnold in.
Get Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Get Arnold in to just
city.
bomb it and to do that bit. You know, send in the big guns.
We'll do the sequel to this film where it is just Arnold going and just killing everyone, just taking them out as like whole crowds of people just go on top of him and he just destroys them all,
and he makes some quip. You know?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Donald Sutherland,
it's getting a little crowded in here. You know what I mean? Like, just fucking taking them out, like hammering them down into the ground.
This.
That's that is the that's like literally like when Arnold. In a way, now I kind of wish that Arnold had, the same way he took like things like Total Recall and The Running Man and turned them into these kind of like sci-fi / full-on action films. I kind of wish he had taken Body Snatchers and just been like, fucking, I destroyed them all. Kind of
the Body Smasher. Yeah.
Until we get, because there's the obvious final scene when Arnold goes against replicated Arnold. Somehow his body didn't break down and he's just him versus him.
I mean, of course, Arnold's body isn't going to break down.
Yeah, like maybe a little bit. I'm slightly less muscular.
Yeah.
Now he's just fucking going at bigger Arnold kind of thing.
Yeah.
See, you've got an action film right there. Why didn't they? They should have made that. But
get the studios.
But Donald Sutherland is not that.
No, Donald Sutherland isn't that, I'm afraid.
Donald Sutherland falls into the standard guy, the average guy maybe on the street, the guy that's fake. Donald Sutherland, Arnold Schwarzenegger, can't play this stand. He tries in many films, but it's like, you ain't, you're not some suburban dad trying to get a toy.
yeah, come on.
Yeah, I don't think so. You've got your work all the time, but somehow you've got the muscles of an Adonis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't see your son.
You're just, look, it's just an Austrian everyday man in the suburbs. Who's
obviously, I'm talking of his best film, Jingle All the Way.
Yeah,
that's the film you talk about when you're mentioning Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
but, whereas Donald Sutherland, everyday average guy, you look like a normal, you've not got the looks of some beautiful. You're not a Brad Pitt or a Tom Cruise.
You're not going to fight the Predator.
You're not that. In the same way that they'd play that, you could play a sexual predator and I'd be like, yeah. But you can't play the action hero and be like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
You're not holding two machine guns in both arms and like blasting through something.
No. And that's what I mean. It feels like when they get to the factory and he's climbing up like the rigging.
Yeah.
And he's using the axe and he's kind of cutting all the lights down to blow stuff up. To me, I was a bit like, this isn't quite as interesting. I like that they go with like a dark ending.
Yeah.
But that bit just felt a bit out of place,
Yeah.
And
it did feel like that action. We need to add a bit of action into this, in a film that isn't like majorly action packed. It is very much on a human level.
Yeah.
And it felt like this scene kind of takes it to that part when you're like, yeah, I mean, you understand it, but at the same time you're a bit like, I would have been okay with it just being kept to that human level, and then they find out that actually this has happened to one of them, kind of thing.
Because I feel like the end, like the very end, works. He blows up the factory, and then they say like he's not going to get far. He has to sleep eventually.
Yeah.
And then we jump to what I assume is the next day, and you see Mr. Donald Sutherland like emotionless, going about his business. He's back at like the public office.
Oh yeah, this is after the Elizabeth.
This is after the Elizabeth has got
and she's broken down in front of him. His whole body's like disappeared. Like that was cool.
Yeah,
and we also, because we get back to that kind of this time the light falls onto him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's the cutaway. It goes bright into the face of him, like hiding down in a thing, and then. Which again, story gives you the idea, well, someone found him.
Yeah.
But you're like, it's ambiguous.
It's ambiguous.
Because now he looks like he's going normally about his day. He seems like he's got something to him. He looks like he knows what he's doing. He's looking at all the other things.
So you're not really sure whether he's been got or not.
No. I think the cleverness of that technically is, if you look in certain scenes, you can see people that you find out that are taken, like when it's the husband, the wife telling about her husband.
Yes.
Like, he seems kind of blank at one point, but then when she starts saying about it, he comes over and suddenly it's like his emotions kick in, like, no, honey, we're fine. There's something off about him, but he still seems like he is a general person, like a normal person. He's acting with emotion and things like that, like as if they can bring it in when they need to, but generally they don't need to, so they don't do it, kind of thing. And that kind of feels like what we're getting here with him, like acting like he is just an everyday kind of person, as if not everyone is, I don't know, as if they're still acting as if not everybody is taken, even though everyone in the lab looks like they're pretty taken.
Yeah.
They all sat there, like, we've got Elizabeth sat there, like, just checking something, and everyone's back to normal kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you get a little bit, it's an odd one, because you get him, he looks like he's having little side looks, like he's like,
giving
as
side
if he's trying to pretend to be something.
Yeah, because there's the bit where I think like an alarm goes, or a bell rings, and everybody leaves kind of instantly, and then he's the slowest one to react.
Yeah.
And he is looking around.
He is looking a lot like Elizabeth, like, as if you get like shots that make him look like he's like, okay, like I need to just walk past and I need to act like this is okay, and as if he's trying to just blend in with it, which is weird, because I think when you look at it, it does, like, I know it's like a big twist at the end of it, but I do feel like a lot of this is very much like kind of cheating in a way, to be a little bit like as if to truly make us get that, but to make the ending like twist work. They're like, oh, he seemed like he was normal, kind of thing. Like, and I guess we can say that they can act like they're normal, but at the same time, like, who's he acting for?
Yeah, of course.
Because it's like everyone we see, we kind of already are aware is kind of gone.
Yeah.
So that's the odd part of it. Like, it feels almost a bit more like a setup just for the audience's expectations.
Yeah.
But it also slightly feels a little bit cheating, because it feels like it kind of breaks the rules that we already know about them.
Yeah.
The way he's acting definitely looks like he's suspicious, or he's trying to act normal, but he's still doing things that look like he's a little rebel.
Yeah, and that's it. I was thinking like, okay, interesting.
Yeah. And then we get the Nancy.
Well, I like those weird trees that have sprouted up everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Kind of weird alien trees.
Yeah, these kind of as he's walking along through you get to see them on sides and stuff like that.
Yeah,
coming around.
And then
as if to show the planet is changing to their will. Kind of.
And then we see Nancy, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Donald Sutherland.
Like, hi, it's you. Hi.
Hey, Donald, it's you." And then, which is great. Yeah. And it does work really cool.
It does work really cool. It is a really cool final shot to be like, fuck, he's gone.
And I like
and now you're fucked.
And you're fucked.
And also, again, like I said earlier, like the fact that like he's walking and it seems so empty.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just going into their little routine kind of thing. And you wonder what it would be like after they're fully gone. Like they're just going to be literally just I don't know. Well, they're just going to sit there.
Yeah, what are they going to do?
They're just going to sit somewhere in a warehouse and be like, this is living.
This is living, boys.
We've taken over these humans so that we can now just live like a plant. Sit there and stay still.
And stay out the sun.
That's it. That's all we need to do. Like,
yeah, that's all we got to do for the next millennium.
Yeah. It doesn't really imply that they want to do much. Like, they're just going about their normal, like, life and jobs and stuff like that. It just opens the question of, well, what if this plant doesn't want to be a health inspector? Where's the other sequel, not the Arnold Suite sequel? Where's the other sequel where it's like they realise that actually I want to have my own life and I don't want to live like these humans are anymore.
At what point does a plant not need to be a health inspector?
Yeah. At what point does he go,
we're not eating food anymore. Why are you still doing this?
Yeah. Everyone's gone. The whole planet is us.
Why are you still
What do
doing
we do
this?
now?
Yeah.
Do we just take over their lives? As in, we just keep. Why am I paying? Why do I have to hand things over? Why can't I just have that?
Yeah.
Like, does society still stay the same, or where do we go with this?
What
is the sequel? I feel like the sequel is literally just them sat, just staring,
or just doing the life and being like, "Why are we doing this?"
I'm pretending to be a plant. Waving in the air.
Why am I wanking someone off in a mud bath? Who benefits from this?
Yeah, there's some people that some of those plants got a real short hand.
Yeah.
Why am I on a straight corner waiting for someone to pick me up?
Yeah.
Why am I acting like I want to pick you up?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it goes weird, doesn't it?
Do I have genitals? I don't know. I haven't shown that.
What do we do once you get in the car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't. To be fair, I'm not. I don't think we see breasts. We don't see penis. I don't believe so. I didn't look carefully. I wasn't like, are they showing all of the parts?
Yeah.
So I don't know if they have the same genitals upon changing. Or
if they replicate.
They have. We know they have. It says in the book and in the film that they have the scars and things like that. Like,
yeah. Okay.
They're like, how do we notice? Well, they didn't get that till later. Like often in these kind of films, they normally like when it has had replication films, they're like, then they say except I don't know. Whatever, like for some reason none of them have got belly buttons, or you know what I mean, like they've got something weird like that, or they got a scar when they were this old, but your DNA doesn't. That would include a scratch or a scar. But in this one, it does say like they actually still have all of the, including scars on their necks and things like that. So it does make it a really hard thing to work out what they're kind of be doing.
Yeah.
Again, someone sadly is one of the plants is like, well, why can't I move my legs?
Yeah. Why have I got herpes? Yeah. What are these?
Yeah. They just, as a plant, just like it's a weird thing when you start thinking about the things that they've inherited. I took over this man in the hospital bed, but now I'm stuck in a coma. Yeah. Am I allowed to get out of this coma?
What's going on, lads?
At what point do I pretend to no longer be in a coma?
Yeah. What are we doing?
Am I still like what? Why did we do this?
Yeah.
Why did we want to do this?
Yeah. Being a plant sucks. Let's go to the next planet.
Yeah. This fucking sucks.
Yeah,
let's find a better planet.
This fucking sucks.
Yeah. I've got to pay bills.
Yeah. I mean, I actually think, just to kind of go back on track slightly, because we have covered the film.
Yeah.
I think this is actually on our must-see horrors list.
I'm fairly certain.
I'm fairly certain.
Now, whenever there's multiples of the film, half the time until you scratch it off, we don't know which one it is. But I feel this is the most well-known one. Yeah. I feel like the poster is probably just going to be Donald Sutherland's face screaming. This is the most well-known one. So yes, this does technically fall as must-see horror. And, well, I'd say it's a must-see horror.
Yeah, I think it's great, man. Yeah. It made, apart from that very, the end with the factory, I thought it was great. I thought it was creepy, it was interesting, it was well acted, it was really nicely shot.
Yeah, so really interesting ideas and like themes that are thrown in there. I think it does feel very much of its time, but the effects and stuff are really like practical, but still look good and mainly hold up. The scenes when they change and stuff look fantastic.
Yeah, they're great.
You know what I mean? They've got some the way we kind of see the body changes and stuff has some really cool effect to it. Kind of like a la American Werewolf when we see transformation. There's some elements of that have a real like it's both disgusting body horror to watch at the same time as being like, holy shit, this whole idea is like, imagine like you just you watch this film and you'll just be walking down the street tomorrow and be like, Are you human?
Yeah.
Are you a plant? Someone could be driven mad by the pursuit of like, fucking hell. What if we're not all who we are? Or we're in, there's old concepts like, we're in the Matrix, aren't we? None of this is real.
No, maybe.
Everyone's fake. We are just being puppets in some kind of show. It's like The Sims.
Or
we are
Truman
The Sims.
Show.
Yeah. There's someone above us just controlling a computer.
Making us do this. Making us do this podcast.
Making us touch people's genitals.
Well, do it. Yeah. Anything else to add before we send them home happy?
No. Again, I think this is definitely one that people should check out. This is, for me, stronger than the from what maybe I saw it, or from what I saw of the original. I think this one works much better, even if it's not exact replication of the book. And I haven't seen the other one, so I can't say that, but I heard it's shit.
Yeah.
I remember having god awful, literally 0 or 1 star reviews was all it got, a mess of a film. So
probably swerve it.
So I'd say this one, if you're going to watch a Body Snatchers film, this one is the one. And I'd also say, I do think that this could, I feel like I'm surprised there's not another iteration of this, a modern version, because I feel like this would make a really interesting now, a proper one. I know it might be because the other one failed so badly that they were like, I'm not touching that again. Well, but I'd like to see a remake, to be honest, this would probably fall into a TV series at this point.
They tried to do it with War of the Worlds. With was it Ice Cube who was in it?
That I don't. Yeah, in that way I don't. I don't even know if that one even counts in a way. That's just someone's got to think. Let's leave. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think let's leave it alone. I don't want to see a take of an invasion of the Body Snatchers that has mobile phones and has TikTok and has people being able to instantly communicate. I don't want that. That's going to be dog shit.
In one scene, someone's doing fucking 6'7" in one scene.
Yeah, someone's 6'7"
in the next scene, and then later on they're just filming themselves stood there blank in front of the screen.
They'll do that. Man. Don't give them ideas.
Yeah, you'll have a shot of what is it whoever hosts an American chat show now, where in one scene, Jimmy Fallon or whatever, he's really entertaining, and the next scene they're just all stood silently watching, because that's how we show media now, is to show a chat show host and then show them suddenly stood there blank. Oh fuck, he's been
gone. That's what we'll do. Make the Arnold one. Don't make anything else. Just do the Arnold one.
What I would say when I'm talking about making it, to be honest, is actually I would go back and maybe make a good version of the original story. 50 setting. I can now see the error of my ways of thinking of a modern version. I don't think we need to see that version.
No.
That's basically phones are doing that for you anyway.
Yeah, phones are doing that for you anyway.
They're turning you into a pod person. Yeah.
Lesson of the story, man. Don't be a pod person. But do hit that subscribe button. Leave us a lovely review. We've got a whole bunch of fun body snatching sci-fi coming up for you. Come and let us know your thoughts on Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and we will see you next week. As always, play us out, fellas.